harvest something from the garden that they later eat as snack. And these are kids that have signed up for the garden program, but occasionally we actually do a massive harvest out of the garden. We take it up to the whole camp community in these big bowls of all of these raw vegetables, and just hand them out. And I'm a vegetable lover, but even I don't eat raw broccoli or raw zucchini plain with nothing on it, and these kids are just voracious. They can't get enough of it. It's quite amazing to see them in the garden harvesting it, and suddenly they care about it because they feel like it's a part of them. I've heard kids say, like, this garden is a part of me, and this is my garden, and it just helps them take ownership of their diet because they've seen it growing in the ground. And some of these kids have come out weeks before and helped plant it, and then they come out a month later and they see how tall it's grown, and it just helps connect the dots. And then when they're in the dining hall and they have the option to go to the salad bar and they see the things that we have grown for them, they eat it because it's meaningful for them, and they say, wow, this tastes so much better than any vegetables I've had before, and I just want all the greens I can get. And they can't get enough of it. It's amazing.
That must be so satisfying. And Sarah, you started this program.
I did. I was missing being part of this community, and I love these kids so much, I can't tell you. Lasting relationships. So even the teens that I worked with back when I started the program, I'm in touch with them. We see each other. We spend time together. They reach out to me. I write them job recommendations. It's a real relationship. And what I saw happen with those teens in literally one intensive month that they would spend with myself, or now with Rose in the garden, just transformative. And they can articulate that themselves. And that is in some ways the most amazing transformation. That they're open enough and aware enough of themselves and their own goals that they see their growth during that time. I can't imagine a more fun day than spending a hot, sweaty day in the garden with these teens and these kids. And it's exhausting. I mean, I must say I'm glad to have passed the torch to Rose to some degree. She comes home exhausted. And it's a wonderful thing that we share, because I know the kids, and they adore her. Just seeing the magic that happens with a younger person mentoring these teens. They're only several years apart. Has even taken it to a new level.
When you first started this, Sarah, I remember talking with you, and you were saying, wow, it is so interesting to try and teach teenagers how to use a knife. And so I think that was an example to me of how to use a knife. Of course, when did I learn how to use a knife? I can't remember, but I guess there's just a whole lot of those skills that we take for granted probably, that, you found that you're probably not just teaching these kids, but then maybe these kids are going to be teaching other kids.
Yeah, I mean, picture this. We're not only teaching the teenagers knife skills and a whole lot of other culinary skills, food safety and the works. We're teaching them in order for them to be what we call the lead chef or the head chef for a 2-hour cooking class, where they may be responsible for teaching knife skills to literally 18, let's say 9-year-old boys or girls. We're not trying to hold kids back. We're trying to teach them real skills. We're trying to teach them to feel empowered and to feel capable and competent, because that's when you start to love the things you care about, is when you get good at it. And so because these kids do come back year after year to Lake Valley Camp, these kids over the years are really building a skill set. And I'm excited to think, even now it's happening, and even down the line, that these teens who are up in front of a class of kids, maintaining every step of preparation, teaching preparation of a whole menu that then they of course sit down and eat and socialize over. The skills that requires, and the presentation skills and the leadership skills that requires is just fantastic. And to watch them do it, and for them to recognize their accomplishment, again, is a big part of the program.
That must be terrific confidence building, as well as just learning skills to say, wow, I can do this. And I think that might be probably just as valuable in some ways. How many children are you able to accommodate in these programs here?
Well, the camps has 4 sessions per summer. There's about, approximately 100 kids between age 9 through 14 that are considered the campers. And then the 15 through 17-year-olds are these leadership trainees, and they work every function of the camp. So some of the younger leadership trainees are cleaning and doing other, doing the dishes. They are helping to run the camp that they have come up through since they were 7 and 8 years old. So it belongs to them. They care about this place. So there's at any given time there are a different number of leadership trainees. They have to self-select to enter that program, and then they indeed graduate from the program, and then they are eligible to apply to become staff in training and then full staff. And so one of the greatest rewards of working at Lake Valley Camp, because it is truly the mission in action, is working shoulder to shoulder with young people who have come up through that program, who may have 10 or 12 years under their belt at that program, and are now full staff and are giving back fully to the young kids that they once were.
Just tuned in, this is Rootstock Radio. I'm Teresa Marquez, and I'm here today with Sarah Tedeschi and her daughter Rose Bruce. Well, it's very rewarding to hear about this full spectrum, multifaceted learning experience that also sounds like it's fun, challenging, etc. Lots of growth. And you talked about it growing out of the school gardens movement. And now you're working with the National Farm to School Network, aren't you, in Wisconsin? And you've been doing that. Actually, didn't it overlap with your work with the Lake Valley camp?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I've really, truthfully, been working in farm to school since the early 2000s. First through the University of Wisconsin in Madison and the Center for Integrated Agricultural Systems there, which is a long name basically for what is the UW-Madison Sustainable Ag Center on campus. It's relevant having Rose here because she was a small child when I got into the farm to school work, as was her brother, and it is literally my first experiences in their cafeterias in Madison, Wisconsin in public school that I didn't know. It was an accidental career that happened for me. I happened to have a background in nutrition and agriculture, so that was a good fit. But really, everyone listening, it's being a parent, it's